It was no drive-by, brother. He was parked there all night. And the Muslim dude who walked down to me,
Scoping.
that's the dude who killed Big.
After 50 Cent's new documentary dropped, 2 cops broke into Biggie's mansion and uncovered something crazy. Hidden secrets and clues no one expected started coming to light. And now, this discovery they just made could reopen questions no one dared touch. Let's dive into it. Biggie's legacy under the lens. Bills, betrayal, and bulletproof truth. Roll the tape back with me. It's March 9, 1997. The streets of LA feel cold, and somewhere in the air, you smell burnt rubber and ambition. The notorious B.I.G., Brooklyn-born East Coast kingpin, just dipped out a crowded after-party at the Peterson Automotive Museum. Party was wild, full of celebs, fans, gang affiliates, Crips, Bloods, music hustlers, label reps, flash bulbs popping, bottles clinking, dreams bigger than the city skyline. But the fire marshal shut it down early. There was too many bodies, too much noise, too much heat. So, Biggie and his crew bounced. 2 green 1997 Chevy Suburbans, rented from Budget, rolled out into the night. In one, Biggie sat shotgun, with his driver Gregory G-Money Young at the wheel, riding shotgun beside ghosts of hopes and laughter. Behind him, Damian D-Rock Butler, Lil Cease, and other soldiers watching the rear view. Up front in the other Suburban, Sean Diddy Combs, then powerful CEO of Bad Boy Records, with bodyguards, security on deck, heavy energy. Their convoy looked locked, loaded, ready to cruise the LA night. A black Cadillac Blazer trailing behind, driven by off-duty cop turned security. They were carrying Bad Boy security head, just in case. It was meant to be a shield, but shields don't block bullets when the city hunts you. Time check, approximately 12:45 a.m. The after-party crowd floods the streets, sirens in the distance, tires squealing, evidence of nights that never sleep. Meanwhile, the convoy inches forward. Biggie's Suburban rolls up to a red light at the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and South Fairfax Avenue, just 50-odd yards from the museum exit. Lights glowing, windows tinted, white noise of the crowd fading. Then comes the silence with tension. That's when it happened. Out of the shadows, a dark-colored Chevy Impala SS creeps up on the right side of the Suburban. The driver was clean-cut, blue suit, bow tie, calm, like he waiting for a bus. Then the window rolls down, 9mm steel in hand. He don't hesitate. He fires 6 rounds, maybe more. Bullets rip through glass and metal, shaking the Suburban. 4 shots hit Biggie. Shells echo down Wilshire like fireworks, but with danger. The crew erupts, screams, doors slam. The night suddenly jumps off its hinges. 1 second you riding, next second you ducking for cover. D-Rock, Lil Cease, G-Money, friends caught in the crossfire. Bodies dive, hearts race. Smoke smells, breath heavy, panic in rear view. Diddy jumps out, eyes wild, flashes of betrayal, fear, loss. Security scrambles as people scatter in all directions. This supposed protection just turned into a coffin on wheels. In no time, tires screeched and Biggie was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Lights red and blue, speeding through silent streets, sirens wailing, time stretching like rubber. Doctors began an emergency thoracotomy, fighting death with knives and prayers. But the wound was too deep. Vital organs were crushed, blood had spilled, and fate was sealed. He was pronounced dead about an hour later. A 24-year-old legend gone in a heartbeat. That night flipped the rap game inside out. Biggie, the voice of East Coast streets, the lyrical prophet, gone. Hits like Juicy, Big Papa, twisted into ghost stories on radio waves. His upcoming album, Life After Death, scheduled to drop days later, turned into an epitaph. The street echoed with mourning mixed with shock, grief, rage, confusion. Who did this? Why? Was it gang retaliation, industry beef, corrupt cops, or a hit job threaded with betrayal? Questions swirled like smoke, but answers? Nah. They evaporated in the LA smog. Since then, the case is legend. Investigation, dead ends. Rumors, files lost, secrets hidden. No one ever cuffed. No one ever convicted. The city moved on. But some nights, Wilshire and Fairfax still whisper. The streets remember, the music remembers, we remember. That's the night when the mic fell silent. That's when hip-hop lost one of its saints. And now, as 2025 hits and dust rises again with a new documentary, the wound becomes fresh. The documentary, produced by 50 Cent, drags the spotlight back to the 1990s, back to the end of the notorious B.I.G., and shakes up the ground under every assumption. This ain't just rap nostalgia. This is cleaning up old dirt. It wastes no time. Early in the series, former insider and co-founder of Bad Boy Records, Kirk Burrows, steps up on camera. He ain't mincing words. He claims Diddy promised the biggest funeral New York has ever seen for Biggie. But once the price showed up, the plan flipped. According to Burroughs, Diddy didn't plan to pay. Instead, he told the crew, Biggie gonna pay for this funeral. He turned that grief-filled goodbye into a recoupable bill, charging the funeral onto Biggie's estate. It hit like a sucker punch. The idea that Biggie's own demise sparked a leftover invoice twisted many minds. The series frames it as cold business, not brotherhood. As Burroughs put it, Diddy wanted a big show to look good on him, but he wasn't gonna tell the world that the deceased was paying. That claim that the estate paid for the funeral dates exploded across media, social feeds, and forums. People argued, heads turned, loyalties cracked. Twitter, Reddit, hip-hop forums, they all lit up. Some said it was proof that even in death, Biggie got played. Yet others warned that this could just be hearsay, bitterness from ex-partners, clickbait timed to stir drama. Among the uproar, the representation split. Those calling foul and those siding with Diddy's defenders. But the doc didn't stop there. It peeled back more layers, showing audio interviews, business papers, industry gossip, insiders who claimed Diddy had long played a financial game behind the scenes. Money, contracts, fame, all mixing with power moves. With every frame, the doc pushed viewers to question, was this empire built on loyalty or ledgers? Friends or finances? Facts or facade? There was more. The documentary raised a subplot about a planned magazine cover, supposedly Rolling Stone, where Biggie was supposed to be on it, but at the last minute, the image was switched to boost Diddy instead. Barrow shut that claim down too. He said he never saw evidence, was never approached, and no cover was ever presented to Biggie's team. The angle about contract drama, media manipulation, and betrayal got denied outright. That left the documentary's heavy allegations looking even more contested. Then the artist camp, lawyers for Diddy, chimed in. They fired off statements calling the documentary a one-sided hit piece. They said footage had been cherry-picked, taken out of context, and demanded fairness, due process, not public trials by hype and scroll. Meanwhile, the estate said they felt disrespected. How could anyone imply the family let a giant bill slide, or that they ignored ledger lines while mourning a son? The tension built like a storm, heavy and relentless. Still, the storm didn't let up, because once a story leaks into public memory, especially one this messy, emotional, and heavy, it doesn't fade fast. The controversy pulses louder than before. Every side has skin in the game. Fans, industry vets, family representatives, critics, all watching, all waiting. Even half the claims being true would not just rewrite a funeral story. It would redefine what legacy really cost. That is where history and memory collide. And no matter which side people ride with, once the mic dropped and cameras rolled, there was no going back. Media outlets ran with it. Articles unpacked Burroughs' testimony, dissected the financial logic, laid out how Biggie's send-off was allegedly turned into a taxable asset, a ledger line. But just as fast, pushback came. The estate of Biggie, managed by Wayne Barrow and overseen by Biggie's mother, spoke up. They said the claims were inaccurate, flat out false. Barrow insisted that funeral costs were covered by Diddy and Bad Boy. No bill ever hit Biggie's royalty statements. He said he reviewed every page alongside Biggie's family, and nothing matched the narrative. That twist dropped heavy. Suddenly, the doc's bombshell looked like a house of cards. The estate pushed that everything was above board. Coffin, service, venue, processional, all paid. Now the streets were split. Some held onto Burroughs' story, proof that the rap empire was shady from day one. Others sided with Biggie's family, calling it misrepresentation. They pointed out that the estate's records speak louder than allegations. Suspicion met skepticism, grief mixed with legality. Meanwhile, the doc used the funeral cost angle to reopen bigger doors, ties to money, power, contracts, influence. It replugged the leak in public memory, asking, when Biggie passed, who profited, who got paid, who kept the money flowing, and how many secrets got buried deep in those papers. For people on the block, this wasn't just industry gossip. It hit personal. Biggie wasn't just a legend. He was a voice, a mirror, a street prophet. So, the thought his demise might have been monetized felt like betrayal. It sparked anger, confusion, and heavy debates. And that's the point. The doc didn't just drop claims. It made folks lean in close, question loyalty, dig through history, challenge what they thought they knew. It turned memory into evidence, rumors into allegations, respect into suspicion. Because in that world, where streets and contracts always cross, legacy ain't just about songs. It's about who prays, who profits, and who pays. Meanwhile, word slips out. Two cops low-key, off the radar, get a tip. Could be a rat's whisper or a snitch fed up with keeping secrets. They slide up to Biggie's old estate, flash a warrant, and start digging, filing through stuff people thought was buried forever. Imagine they pull out a fat envelope stamped estate of Christopher Wallace. Inside, receipts, Funeral cost breakdowns, payment notices, statements, financial transfers that show someone tallied up Biggie's funeral bill and wrote estate on it. That alone hits like a gut punch for everyone who believed loyalty meant something real. Yet, the discovery could go even deeper. Maybe there's correspondence, letters or emails between executives at Bad Boy Records and funeral directors or accountants showing exactly how the cost got shifted onto Biggie's estate. Maybe paperwork shows Bad Boy fronted a loan for the funeral but declared it recoupable. How about a contract in fine print listing services like hearse, venue, memorial production, security? The whole shebang signed off by people who stood to profit. And maybe, if it gets wild enough, a ledger page names names, security firms, bodyguards, ex-cops turned guards, shifting money circles between the label, the estate, and contractors. That money trail could link to people once suspected of being dirty, ex-cops, gang affiliates, and industry players. If that kind of evidence came to light, streets would crack open. Everyone who ever doubted the rumors would sit up. Investigators, real ones now, not just sleuths online, would be forced to cut in. Journalists would dig, social media would blow up again. Until now, all those allegations, corrupt cops, shady deals, cover-ups were built on suspicion, rumors, redacted files, secondhand testimony. People would start piecing it together, finally seeing the outline of something they had only guessed at. The official history tells us after Biggie's passing, the case got tangled in city bureaucracy, legal suits, broken witnesses, closed doors. The feds got involved, but by 2005, prosecutors shut the case down. They said they couldn't build a solid case. There was no arrests, no convictions. But those old files were heavy, packed with reports, surveillance logs, informant statements. It was all there, waiting for someone to put it together, waiting for eyes to catch the pattern. If these two cops stumbled on estate house documents, financial rosters, forensic-style receipts, contracts, that thread would connect the money side with the massacre side. It would reignite the case, but not just as a crime story, as a betrayal story. Biggie's life wasn't just gut short. His end got monetized. Every fan, every observer who believed in loyalty would feel that hit deep. The idea that grief could be turned into a line item would shake culture and conscience. The discovery wouldn't be just about receipts. It would be a mirror showing how much power, greed, and corruption move behind the scenes, right under the city's nose. That kind of discovery would shake the blueprint of the West Coast-East Coast rap war narrative, shifting part of the blame from gangs back onto the suits, the execs, and the cops who walked in tailored clothes instead of badges. New questions would rise. Who cleaned up the books? Who stood to gain from Biggie's demise politically, financially, socially, once the spotlight dimmed? Beyond scandal, legal doors might reopen. Fresh documents, financial evidence, paper trails that weren't public could spark new lawsuits. Family, estate attorneys, civil rights lawyers could come back knocking. This wouldn't just be music history or street legend. It could become a case about corruption, exploitation, betrayal stacked on top of tragedy. Most of all, it would hit feelings. Fans, culture, the city still bumping Biggie's records would feel it. The idea that Biggie's demise became a ledger line, that grief became profit, would twist like a knife years after the shot rang out. The streets taught lessons long ago. Money talks, but truth screams louder. If those two cops found those papers, the truth would scream. Even hypothetically, the discovery changes the lens through which we see the East Coast-West Coast war. Fans would lean back, dissecting every frame of the documentary. The drama wouldn't stop there. Evidence like this could trigger more searches, subpoenas, leaks, opening decades of files once locked, redacted, ignored. The public might finally see connections between corrupt cops, record execs, and gang members hinted at but never proven. Myth could bleed into reality. In this urban drama, truth doesn't just hit headlines. It hits hearts, rattles legacy, makes the streets lean back and think. What really happened that night in '97? And now, we hit the last frame of this saga. The street's been buzzing since the doc dropped, social feeds on fire, clips being replayed, rewinded, and dissected by everyone from bloggers to fans in the block. The doc slams down its first heavy card, and in that moment, we see the powerful, glamorous, and controversial Sean Diddy Combs in a new light. Sean Combs. The reckoning brought heat, allegations, claims about contracts, money moves, funeral costs, whispers about loyalty and betrayal. Over the years, people kept digging. Writers, journalists, fans, detectives. They tried to piece it together, chase leads, uncover hints of corrupt cops or gang ties or industry connections. FBI files surfaced, old interviews got unearthed, theories bounced back and forth. But even with decades of digging, nothing got tied down hard enough to stick in court. No document proved what really went down. The case stayed unsolved, the streets held their breath, and Biggie's legacy carried both grief and myth. That is where the documentary slides in, throwing down claims that hit hard. It says money shifted, contracts got twisted, funeral costs got recorded as estate expenses, and whispers about manipulation float across the screen. It spins a story that even in loss, the ledger moved and loyalty got tested. That narrative got people talking and looking for proof in old interviews, in social chatter, and financial rumors. It stoked outrage, curiosity, and a thirst to know what really went on behind closed doors. Then came the pushback. Wayne Barrow, estate manager and longtime custodian of Biggie's legacy, steps forward. He got on record speaking for the family and pushed back against the claims. The funeral costs, he said, were covered by Diddy and Bad Boy Records. No bills got passed to the estate. Every ledger, every royalty check, every payout got reviewed with Biggie's mother. None of it showed that the family had to cough up money. Contracts, he said, were signed, cleared, and there was no dispute. That was the official line, backed by people who actually ran the estate and saw the books firsthand. So now the story splits in two. On one side, the documentary paints a picture heavy with suspicion and drama. On the other, the estate says the record is clean, the claims are unverified, and the family got no shortfall. The tension between those narratives is what keeps the streets talking. The feeds keep buzzing, blogs get updated, fans rewatch, and everybody leans in, trying to figure out what to believe. But we gotta slow down and check the score. Take a breath and sort fact from hype, rumor from proof, and truth from speculation. We gotta pause before letting the hype carry us away. People get caught up in what feels true, what spins a wild story, only to find out that none of it checks against public record. That is the caution in all this. When streets and feeds light up, when clips go viral, when people start passing claims like gospel, we gotta pull back, lean closer, and ask for receipts. The line between memory, allegation, and fact gets blurry fast. We can get caught up, twist stories in our head, repeat claims as truth without checking. That is the danger in all this hype, the risk of turning speculation into legacy. Even if the doc feels true, even if it grabs you and won't let go, remember that allegations remain allegations until verified. Biggie's case is officially unsolved. No arrests, no court findings, no confirmed police reports tying to the claims about contracts or funeral expenses. What we got instead is drama, rumor, and compelling storytelling. That is heavy enough to stir the culture, but it isn't proof. The streets remember the pain, the fans remember the music. The legacy of Biggie keeps spinning through speakers and minds. The story is still unfolding in memory, in feeds, in debates, in culture. What is confirmed, what is disputed, and what is speculation all live, side by side. The caution is simple. Honor the legacy, enjoy the storytelling, but don't mix hype with history. Keep the facts separate and always chase the proof before accepting the claims. Biggie's case remains unsolved. The estate stands by its records. The documentary brings drama, questions, and allegations that hit hard. But the truth in court, in official files, and in police statements stays the same. The streets will always talk, the stories will keep spinning, and the culture will keep remembering. But the line between story and proof has to stay sharp. That is the reality, that is the case, and that is the final note.